back to the Christian Leadership Coach podcast. I'm Jessica Heffley, jessicaheffley.com and leadingladiesmovement.com. They take you to the same place, but I'm excited to be back with you guys this week on podcast where you find your podcast, also on YouTube. So, hey, YouTubers. This week I've been thinking about, within the last couple of, when you say no to something, you're saying yes to something else. And when you're saying yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Okay, this theme it reared its ugly head, right? That's where all these stories come from, or just my life when things happen. And I notice this feeling inside of me that I don't like. And so I got to go process it. And then I always want to share with you guys what I'm learning and processing and growing in, because I am sure is relatable to many of you guys out there as well. So why is it so hard to say no to something? Even though you're saying yes to something else, why does it feel so hard? Okay, because recently on multiple occasions, I had a couple different people ask me to go to coffee, and they're not people that I'm particularly really close with. And when they asked me that, my first reaction was, oh, I don't want to. And then my second reaction was, oh, I'm such a horrible person. So my thought was I don't want to, but then it was oh, why am I such a horrible person? Because I want to tell them no. Okay. So why was I equating that I didn't want to do something with me being a horrible person? Okay. Why was I equating that? Codependent much, you think? Side note, if you don't know much about codependency, I could do a whole nother episode on that. But codependency basically is when you are being so concerned about making other people happy, or you're desperately doing all that you can to please other people, to make them happy, to make sure that their needs are met, that you make sure that you are feeling wanted and needed by other people. It's very common. But what most people don't know is that it actually is a form of manipulation on your part, because you are playing a part that is to appease and make everybody else happy. And so you're not really being your true authentic self. Okay. You're not showing up in a way, and actually leads you usually always end up feeling bitterness or resentment, but that's so much to pack. We'll do that again another day. Maybe let me know if that's a topic you want me to cover in the future. But you have to be mindful of that. A great resource is The New Codependency by Melody Beadle. She's got a couple of books, but anyways, if you ever find yourself people pleasing, or you've heard about codependency, or you always realize you're always feeling bitter and resentful, that's a good resource for you to go to check out. There's lots of good things on that. But back to the fact that I didn't want to back to the fact that I really just didn't want these women to think that I was too busy for them. I was worried about if I said no, I would be perceived, my air quotes are happening right now, as not being a good Christian friend, okay, or good Christian if I told them no, or told them I had something else going on, or I was busy, because that was the thing. It's not like I'm just sitting at home twiddling my thumbs. What brought this up is the feeling that, oh, they're going to think I'm a bad person. They're going to think I'm horrible. They're going to think I'm not a good Christian friend. Okay. So basically, I wanted to be in control of how I was perceived by them. I want to be in control of what others think about me. Basically, I want to be in control. Anybody else? If we're getting to the root, and this is what we always need to be doing, is getting to the underlying root of really what is happening inside of us, really why we are thinking and feeling a certain way. Okay. So why does one seek to be in control? Okay. Often it's the root of you want to feel safe. It feels really unsafe to not be able to control other people's perceptions of me, because then there is a possibility that they could judge me or reject me, or decide to think something about me that wasn't true, right? But you know what the craziest thing is? Even if I was perfect and truly had complete control over how I was perceived and everything that I did, they could still choose to reject me, to judge me, to decide differently about me. It's called free will. That's how the world works. And that, if I'm being honest, feels downright terrifying. That feels out of control. That feels unsafe, doesn't it? That other people have the choice to choose to think about you however they want. No matter what you do, they can still always choose to judge you, reject you, think about you in an opposite way. But what's even more fascinating to me about this is that Jesus Christ, literal perfection, God incarnate, who was without sin, he had people hate him. He had people misjudge him. He had people mock him. He had people reject him. He had people ultimately kill him. Okay. Light bulb, definitely not him. So, but you know what the Bible says over and over and over and over and over and over and over again is that in between his time of ministering to people, in between all the time that Jesus was healing and with people and with his disciples and teaching, and all over and over and over and over and over again, there is scripture that says he went to a solitary place to pray. He tapped into and prioritized connection, communion, and time with God regularly. He knew what was his assignment and what wasn't because of his such close connection with God. He was able to handle the opinions of others because he was solid in his opinion of himself and God's opinion of his identity. Okay, he was solid in that because of the time that he spent connecting with his Father. So many of us are walking around in this life being extra careful and extra cautious about what we allow others to see, that we don't even realize that our motivation is to appear to be put together and so perfect because we desperately are grasping at avoiding the possibility of feeling an uncomfortable and out of control feeling that someone else just might, we're like totally making up scenarios here, that they might have about us. Did you know that everything that we do or don't do is because of a feeling? This is fascinating to me. Hang with me. The reason you do everything you do and the reason you don't do the things that you don't do is because you are trying to feel a certain way or trying to not feel a certain way. Okay, it's like literally fascinating. Test it out. Your thoughts are what create feelings, and from your feelings, you are motivated to do or not do anything and everything. Seriously, test it out. Test it out. The reason you work out or the reason you don't work out is because of a feeling that is fueled by a thought you are choosing to think. The reason you are bad with money or the reason you are good with money is because you have a feeling you have towards money, and that is fueled by a thought you are choosing to think about it. The reason you show up as a leader or the reason that you shy away from leading is because of your feelings that you have about your leadership, and that's fueled by a thought you are choosing to think. The reason you spend time working or don't spend time working is because of a feeling you have about your work and the thought that you have. Y'all, and here's the kicker. This one is like, oh, ouch. You don't fall out of love with your spouse. You just stop thinking loving thoughts towards them, which makes your feelings change. Feelings aren't facts. We are really diving into this in February inside of our Leading Ladies movement, because this topic of transformational, unconditional love for ourselves and others, and how we get to create as much love as we want to in our lives anytime we want, because the only way to feel more love in our life is to think more loving thoughts. It'll blow your mind. It's blowing my mind as I'm preparing for it. It is like super blowing your mind. Let me go back. Let's say that one again as like a little teaser here. You don't fall out of love with your spouse. You just stop thinking loving thoughts towards them, which changes your feelings. Okay. This also concept of unconditional love and our thoughts and our feelings also affects our physical bodies. It's fascinating. Are you blessing or cursing your body by your thoughts about yourself? Diving into that too. But back to the feel. Okay, back to feeling bad about saying no to going out to coffee. Okay, so a couple of guidelines I ask myself when this comes up now. Okay, not just like, oh, I'm a horrible person. No, that's not what that's. I got to the root of that. I just kind of walked you through my process there with that. But a couple of guidelines I ask myself moving forward is this my assignment? And what do I mean by that? If we are here by assignment and in partnership with God in our calling, some things are going to be for us. Some coffee dates are going to be for us. and some won't. Sometimes you have to trust that we aren't the ones to help them, and someone else or something else is. Okay, some of y'all are going to have to give up this hero complex, thinking that you're the only one that can save everybody. Okay, you're going to wear yourself out and other people out trying to do things that aren't meant to be for you. Okay, but I'm also saying, when I'm saying no to something, what am I saying yes to? When you are saying no to something, why do we always focus on the thing we say no to? Like, spend some time focusing on the thing that you're saying yes to because you said no to that. Celebrate and focus on that. Don't just focus on the no, focus on when you said no, it meant that you were saying yes to something else that was important. For me, I know that if I don't have downtime and time to process and reflect and have energy to pour into my family and to my leading ladies movement, that I'm not doing what I've been called to do. Well, I'm doing a disservice to the things that I've been called to do, because my family and leading ladies go first, and they're getting the best of me. And if I say yes to everything else all of the time, that I'm going to exhaust myself with what isn't my assignment in this season. Okay. But I'm also, hear me on this as well, because I'm definitely an introvert. I'm also not saying that being an introvert or coming into agreement with maybe your debilitating anxiety is never an excuse to meet with somebody face to face for coffee. That's not what I'm saying. Jessica said I'm an introvert, so I never have to go meet someone for coffee. No, that's not what I'm saying. That also is something that you need to explore for the Lord, because introvert doesn't have anything to do with face-to-face coffee. Actually, introverts love one-on-one more than larger groups. Okay, so just be mindful you're not like avoiding everything out there because of your anxiety. That will also be another episode there. But take a moment and be aware of your thoughts and your feelings. Be aware that feelings aren't facts, and make powerful decisions on purpose. Powerful decisions in your life, powerful yeses, powerful nos, knowing what your calling and your assignment is in that season. Powerful decisions produce peace, produce the fruit of refinement in peace, not bitterness and resentment. Okay, when you are solid in your powerful decisions, when you are doing what you know God has called you to do, when you're focusing on the thing you said yes to, when you said no to something else, that's going to produce refinement and peace within you. So, as always, check in with yourself. And if your motivation to do something is only because you don't want to be perceived or judged in a certain way if you don't do it, or if you say no to that, that's probably not the best or the healthiest motivation. So blessings to you, and blessings to your best yes, and trust in God with the rest. See you next week.